All right, speaking of the diss, it brought up the conversation regarding biracial people being black or not black enough. G Smalls took to social media and gave his thoughts on being biracial after hearing the track. Take a look.
You never really feel accepted by a community. Some people may accept you and consider you as black. And being a part of the white community is, of course, it's not an option because you're not white. We're not white by any means. They will never see you that way. I would never see myself that way. I consider myself black with a white parent. That's what feels most, that's what resonates most with me.
All right. Do you all feel biracial people who are half black have to automatically claim they're black due to white people not accepting us? Armand, what do you think?
You asked me, the only non-biracial up here. I was waiting.
I want to get your thoughts first. Because I know me and Al will have.
Because I'm like, yeah, I think y'all. This is probably more y'all conversation, but I do feel like that's what kind of happens because if you're half and half, you're technically black, but you also are that other half. So you should be able to choose either or. Like why? And no offense, but I'm just saying, why do black people? Why do we have to just be like? Why do we have to be like, oh, you're black? No, maybe you're white. Why do we have to, why do black people have to accept it? Or why are you automatically black? Why can't you be white? Why can't you be Mexican?
I think we're a little closer to black. It's a lot more easier to understand than I would look nuts saying, hey, I'm Italian or I'm white because obviously the black gene was stronger because my skin's brown. You know what I mean? Right. Al, what do you think before real quick, G Smalls also had a book called Black Enough, Man Enough that embraces being mixed. What are your thoughts on this, Al? I know we've touched upon this.
It's just so much. It's so much here. I have to say this. I think the reason why, because I think he said you're forced to be black because white people won't accept you. Exactly. The deal is, like for me, my mother was like, you're going to be raised the way society is going to perceive you and how you show up in the world, because she didn't want me or any of our family members to have issues with, assimilating. And I think that that's okay. Now, the funny part is, according to guidelines, the National Center for Health Statistics, Claudia, their race is supposed to be defined by the race of the mother and the race that the mother has on her birth certificate. So technically, Claudia, you're white.
Okay.
Now use that and
so we want to start talking labels. No,
I'm just saying.
I've always heard it was the father, not the mother.
No, that was until 1989 because
I'm not doing new rules.
You don't like the new rules but I'm a 70s baby. So being born in the 70s, because my father, I would technically on my birth certificate should have white. Right? Anybody that has a white father in your lineage, you go by especially in the state of Virginia. That was before 1989. So in 1989, they changed it, Claudia. Even the census people changed it that to now it's supposed to be you're the color of your birth mother.
Whatever. I'm not doing
it. So one of y'all black and one of y'all white.
So we have comments here. Let's see. Actress 29 Austin said, I can't wait until we get to the day where race is not an issue. We're not crayons. People are humans. And Ariam MJ says, y'all should claim your biracialness. And she also said, y'all are mixed. And New York said, both parents have to be black for you to be black. How many times do I have to give this lesson? I'm going to say this, and I hope this stops this ignorant conversation because I think it's silly. Black people in America really crack me up sometimes with this purity test that we like to give. We have our nerve when if we trace our lineage back in this country in America, even the most brownest person in America can probably trace back some slave master blood up in his family. Okay. And the reason how even biracial people started with our great grandmas getting raped, should she just disown that baby or that baby's white? I just feel like it's really painful to people that have a white parent and a black parent, and we are raised and we have to be seen in society as a black person, to then have black people cast us aside and say, you can't sit with us. You can't sit with us. And I know this sounds like biracial tears and, woe is me. And I don't care if it does, because what it does to people that have a white parent and a black parent, but identify, how come people can identify as anything, right? But when it comes to biracial people get offended and say that we cannot say that we're black. I'm black and GD. I can't swear anymore, right? I am Black, and I've never been raised anything but that. Yes, I had an Italian mother in my house, but I was raised in my Black family. There's no way I could fix my mouth to survive in America saying I'm white. It would sound
If you
crazy.
wanted to, could you? That's what I want to know. Like, could you? You should be able to. If you wanted to be white, you should be able to identify that way because you're honestly half and half. So you have the right to identify either way, I feel.
But then we get mad when people do that and we say they're a coon or they're Uncle Tom or they're self-loathing.
Doja Cat is the prime example of I feel like Doja Cat identifies more with her white side.
Yeah, well,
her Black side to me.
I just feel like it's like a slap in the face to all the things I had to deal with growing up as someone that, you know what I mean? Like I had to really, really fight because of my Blackness. So for someone to just come on,
lack of Blackness.
no, because of my Blackness, Al, with white people.
With white people.
Yeah, with white people. That was an issue. Being in neighborhoods where we'd be the only Black family in the neighborhood, whether you want to call me Black or biracial, and I had to fight. I had to get in fist fights. I had a skateboard cracked in my face by a racist white kid. I had to fight all the time for it. So I'm like, it's harder for me to like let go of that. I'm not just gonna let go because some people on social media say, well, you're not Black because your mother's from Italy. Gotcha. Oh, this new nonsense that came out in 1989. No, I'm going with I feel. And if people can be out here identifying as furries and sea turtles and whatever they want, then I am going to continue to live my life as a Black woman. And ain't no one got to tell me otherwise.
Okay, I got one more question though.
Okay, go ahead,
now. I'm really not trying to get pushback. I'm just trying to understand. So like you do have that fight, for your Black side, right? But then you also have to admit at some point you do have a privilege from your white side that you may get. No, you guys never so you can identify as both. I feel like because you do have the struggle from the Black side, but you do have you have a privilege from being lighter skin as well. There is a biracial privilege that you get.
There is a privilege, but it comes with a price. Okay. And this is something that I don't think we talk about. Yes, I 100% see how racist white people will find us safer and more palatable to them, right? But I don't care what they think because my heart is not with them. It is I would trade the pain that I get from being dismissed by Black people for the disapproval of whites. I would rather them disapprove me over there and give up that privilege I have with them if I had a choice. I know I don't. And I definitely empathize with how darker skinned people are treated in this country. It's jacked up and I hate it. So when a man comes to me in that nonsense, I don't date nothing darker than me, but don't even come around me like that because it is not complimentary to me. But it's people like me and Al that's supposed to check that when we hear that ignorant stuff and not allow that privilege to be such a thing. It's a very complicated conversation. Yeah. I think we need to give it like a really meaty segment or town hall.
For me, Armand, I do understand that there's a privilege for being of a lighter hue, for sure. But I can't transfer that privilege to the white community, right? I can. They might feel safer around me, but at the end of the day, any chance that they get to remind me that I'm Black, they're going to remind me that I'm Black. Does that make sense? So for me, in my experience, and I think Claudia and myself, I went to a PWI, I worked in PWI spaces, vacation in PWI spaces. I can't use this privilege of being light-skinned to pretend to be white. I just can't.
You would look crazy. You would look insane. And white people would even look at you crazy.
And they would check you. They would check you.
Okay, Terrence Billings T said, I know we're taking a little bit of time with this, said, how does your white side feel about you not identifying or accepting as your white side?
That's what I'm saying, because that is your side too.
My mother has made comments about it, and I said, Mom, you don't know how it is out in these streets. I would be completely disowned by my Black side if I sat around and said I'm white. It sounds nuts. And white people would laugh at me and be like, she thinks we're accepted. They don't. Like they may think you're easier to deal with, or more palatable, but they don't really give it to you. It's almost like a joke. And I will tell you, the pain of the rejection from the Black side is far more impactful on you than the privilege that you get sometimes with some white people. Because some white people, they think if you a light skin with like a little bit of a thick nose, you still an N-word. They don't care. They don't give you any privilege. It's some people. It's like having a a rush card. It don't work everywhere. Okay, it works here and there, but it ain't as good
It
as y'all
don't
think
work
it is. It's
everywhere.
not. It's not. All right, great conversation. I hope we have more of this. Oh, Meghan Markle gets a hard time, and she's very white passing. Look how they treat her.
Mhm.
You know, it sucks to get it from both sides, though. It really does suck. It is very painful.